Exposed. How a kitchen seat at my brother's wedding sparked an incredible life-changing decision. Jake stood awkwardly at the edge of a glittering reception hall, the kind he'd only seen in movies or from behind the greasy glass of the mechanic's shop. Laughter echoed like a symphony, yet it felt as distant as the stars. His brother Jason, the golden child in a perfectly tailored suit, made his rounds basking in admiration. And here was Jake, seated at the kitchen table with distant relatives who wore their struggles like old coats. He could feel his heart thumping, each beat resonating with a mix of pride and envy, a duality that gnawed at him. The clinking of champagne glasses and jubilant toasts were drowned out by whispers of fanciful vacations and lavish investments, words that stung like bee bites, reminding him of the grease-stained overalls he wore daily and the tools he knew better than the people around him. "Just a mechanic," he heard one guest say, chuckling with a tinge of amusement. Jake's stomach twisted. He could feel the divide growing between him and Jason, once as narrow as the road leading to their childhood home. As he pushed down feelings of inadequacy, a surge of warmth filled him when he glanced at the buffet. Memories of family dinners flooded his mind, simple moments of laughter and shared hope that seemed light years away now. But in this world of marble floors and crystal chandeliers, those beautiful memories felt like a distant dream, leaving a tightness in his chest. What had he done wrong? Jake's eyes wandered back to Jason, who was now surrounded by friends, each of them shimmering with success and happiness. The tension between them grew like an echo. Childhood dreams resurfaced, endless summer days spent kicking a soccer ball across the yard, nights spent dreaming of big cities and bright futures. But Jake had chosen a different path, one filled with the comfort of routine and the satisfaction of fixing what was broken. "Family means everything," Dad's voice replayed in his head. Yet he couldn't shake the feeling that he had let everyone down. Before he could slip deeper into despair, Jake noticed Mr. Thompson rushing into the room, his neighbors' voices turning frantic at the sight of their beloved war veteran, now frail and pale. Instinct kicked in. Jake bolted towards the chaos, leaving behind the glitzy world of expectations. In the attic of the Mr. Thompson's house, a small fire had ignited, smoldering memories and threatening the home he'd fought to protect. Much like Jake's own dreams, it seemed to be crumbling as Jake fought the flames. The fire quickly became a metaphor, consumed by desperation but ignited by resilience. He could hear Mr. Thompson's calming voice amidst the chaos, reassuring neighbors and Jake alike that they could rebuild. And in that moment, amidst plastic-wrapped emotions and crumbling walls, Jake realized the truth of what family meant: a bond of support, courage, and shared humanity that far exceeded wealth. Just as Jake felt a surge of strength, his phone buzzed in his pocket. Pulling it out, he saw Jason's name flash across the screen. A wave of uncertainty washed over him, pulling him back into the inescapable family web. He stood there, time suspended between the blaze of duty and the flickering dreams of his own life. Would he seize the day for himself or linger in the shadows of what was expected? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The phone buzzed again, pulling him back, but now he was ready to face whatever lay ahead. Should he answer and let family expectations chain him? Or maybe this call could spark a new path. With his heart racing, he stood at the crossroads, uncertain of what choice lay ahead. The wedding's allure faded into the background, replaced by a burning question that dawned upon him. Would this night alter the course of his life forever? Jake stared at the buzzing phone, the light flashing like a beacon in a storm. It felt like a tether, pulling him back toward the familiar, the safe, but he was wrestling with the thought of letting it go. Did he want to be just the mechanic who always played it safe? Or was there something more waiting to be born from this moment? The ringing echoed in his ears as uncertainty mounted like the smoke he had just extinguished. With a deep breath, Jake pressed accept. Hello. His voice was steadier than he felt, but the intensity of the moment was palpable. Hey Jake. Where are you? Jason's voice crackled through the receiver. The overtones of celebration in the background made Jake feel even more isolated. You're missing out. Everyone's asking for you. Yeah, I got caught up with Mr. Thompson's fire, Jake replied, his words feeling inadequate against the laughter swirling around his brother. Fire. Is everything okay? Jason's concern felt genuine, and for a fleeting moment, Jake could see the warmth of brotherhood shining through the haze of envy. Yeah, just some damage. But we got it under control. Good. Jason paused. Listen, can you come back? I really want you to be here. Jake felt a pang in his heart. Jason, I don't think I belong in that world anymore, he said softly, the shame creeping back in. All those wealthy faces, it's like I'm watching from behind a glass door. Stop it, okay? Family is family and we want you here. It doesn't matter if you're a mechanic or whatever. You're my brother. His brother's words hit harder than he expected. They stirred something in him, a reminder of the bond they shared. The way they could depend on each other no matter the distance. I'll be there, Jake said, resolve flooding his voice. He hung up, his heart pounding, not with dread but with anticipation as he made his way back to the hall. A mixture of determination and apprehension coursed through him. The lights outside twinkled like tiny stars, promising a chance for connection beyond the golden facade of the wedding reception. For the first time that night, he felt a sense of urgency. Not just to fit in but to replant roots in his own identity. Entering the hall, Jake was hit with a wave of familiar warmth mixed with the smell of wedding cake and the sparkle of 1,000 smiles. There was laughter but also glances in his direction, some curious, some conspiratorial. Feeling under scrutiny, Jake took a moment to gather himself, inhaling deeply as he stepped into the scene. Jason spotted him and grinned, waving him over with a welcoming gesture. As Jake approached, he could see the joy of the crowd's reaction. Abruptly, those faces shifted from whispers of the past and judgments to shouts of welcome. See, there's my brother. Jason introduced him to a group of their childhood friends, a mix of nostalgia and nerves simmering in Jake's stomach. And then the unexpected happened. You're a mechanic, right? A woman interjected, excitement flaring in her eyes. I've been looking for someone to fix my car. I've heard nothing but great things. Jake felt a tingle of pride bubble up from that oft-ignored space within him. Yeah, I can help with that. That's awesome, she replied, delight evident. Jake exchanged numbers with her as laughter erupted around them. Each conversation felt like a small crack in the wall that had held him back for so long. A spark ignited. He wasn't just a mechanic, he was Jake. A mechanic with skills, connections, and now a brighter vision of what could be. But just as he began to embrace this new chapter, he felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned to see Mr. Thompson, his wise eyes glinting with a mix of concern and pride. Jake, the town needs more people like you. Don't forget that. And with those words, Jake realized the battle ahead would extend far beyond the kitchen seat at his brother's wedding. He had the chance to reclaim not only his place in the family but in the world itself. Would he step into that role with conviction, or would fear hold him back? As he took a step towards Jason, the laughter echoing in his ears, Jake knew one thing. The time for holding back was over. Would he take the plunge into a future filled with uncertainty, but ripe with possibility? In that moment, a new realization dawned. A seat at the table could shift from an obligation to an opportunity. Could he rebuild not just the simple mechanics of his life, but forge a new path for himself and those around him? What awaited him on the horizon could change everything. Or would it lead him back to the shadows he fought so hard to escape? As Jake took a deep breath, the possibilities unfolded before him like an open road. The music swelled, filling the hall with a bright energy that seemed to pulse along with the rhythm of Jake's heartbeat. He turned, scanning the crowd, the heaviness of apprehension beginning to lighten. Faces from his past flickered in and out of focus, some warm, some hesitant. Yet every smile invited him in, breaking down walls he had built over years of self-doubt. Hey Jake. Over here. A familiar voice cut through the chatter. It was Emily, a girl he had known since childhood. She had a knack for making anyone feel at home. Her easy laughter now washing over him like some kind of balm. Jake walked over, his heart racing. Long time no see, huh? Too long, she said, her eyes sparkling. You've missed out on all the fun. But hey, we always save the best for last, right? She nudged him playfully, and for a moment Jake felt the years fall away. As Emily filled him in on the latest gossip, he could feel his confidence growing. Perhaps this gathering wasn't just a reminder of what had been, but a glimpse of what could be. Jason joined them, throwing an arm around Jake's shoulder. "See, we've been waiting for you to come back to the living." Jake chuckled. "Looks like you all have been busy living it up without me. None of it's complete without you, brother." Jason's words, simple yet powerful, struck a chord deep within Jake. It was a brand new feeling, this belonging, like he had a place, a purpose. The night unfurled like a vibrant tapestry of memories and hopes. There was laughter as stories tangled with the clinking of glasses. Jake found himself sharing more than just smiles. He shared fragments of a life he thought he'd lost, a passion for cars, a joy in fixing things, connections that ran deeper than he had realized. But then, as he surveyed the room, his gaze momentarily landed on the corner table. A familiar face lingered, someone he hadn't seen in years. Kara, the girl he had once admired from afar, the one who had moved away. She was leaning back in her chair, laughter spilling from her lips as she spoke to a group, yet her eyes wandered intermittently toward him. The sensation struck him, the weight of unspoken words and missed chances. He took a step toward her, his heart racing with both excitement and dread. Just as he was about to call her name, a sudden burst of nostalgia flooded him. Memories rushed like a tidal wave, long talks in quiet corners, teasing glances, and a connection he let slip away when he chose safety over risk. "Jake, you coming?" Jason called, snapping Jake out of his thoughts. He looked over to see his brother with the crowd waiting for a toast. He nodded and turned back, but an unexpected pull lingered. Kara's laughter echoed softly as she glanced at him again, seeming to sense something brewing beneath the surface. Could he really face her? Could he face the chance of revisiting unresolved feelings? Jake's heart thumped wildly in his chest as he weighed it all. Standing at the crossroads with a gulp, he pattered over to Jason, who raised his glass to signal for attention. To family, to friends, and to the ones who dare to find their way back home, he declared, his grin stretching wide. Looking around, Jake understood the meaning of Jason's words. They stretched beyond just their familial bond. They were an invitation to every person in the room to reclaim a part of themselves, to embrace their true selves, just like he was trying to do. As he raised his glass high, a cheer erupted, but Jake felt his eyes drawn back to Kara once more. In that moment of clarity, he realized a significant choice lay ahead of him, one that could untangle the threads of what had been. Not just with her, but in every aspect of his life. The stakes were high, and the truth lay heavy on his shoulders. Would he gather the courage to reach out, to mend the pieces of his past, or would he return to the comfortable shadows he had fought so hard to escape? As the clinking of glasses faded into laughter, Jake's heart raced with unresolved tension. The answer was still unclear, but the weight of possibility filled the air around him. What would he ultimately choose, to salvage a bright future, or the ghosts of a past he could finally confront? Jake clutched his glass, feeling the cool surface press against his palm. The celebratory atmosphere swirled around him, laughter and chatter blending into a comforting murmur. But his focus was narrowed, a spotlight trained on a single point: Kara. Every laugh she shared with her friends echoed in his mind, mixing with his own uncertainty like a bittersweet melody. "Hey, you okay?" Emily's voice broke through his haze. She stood just inches away, peering at him with concern. "You look like you've seen a ghost." He forced a smile, but inside a storm roiled. "Yeah, just thinking." Emily followed his gaze. Kara, you two used to be close, huh?" "Something like that," he replied, his voice barely above a whisper. A whirlwind of emotions clashed in his chest: nostalgia, regret, and a flicker of hope. "She's different now. I don't even know if she remembers me. Or maybe she remembers everything," Emily said, a knowing smile gracing her lips. "You just have to take the leap." Jake's heart raced with the truth of her words. He fought to distance himself from memories, burying them under layers of self-doubt. But here, in this room filled with laughter and warmth, something deep within him stirred. The possibility of reconnecting, of healing old wounds, beckoned him like a lighthouse in a storm. Taking a deep breath, he tightened his grip on the glass and made a decision. "I think I'm going to talk to her." Emily's eyes brightened with encouragement. "That's the spirit. Just be yourself." With a nod, Jake moved toward the corner table, his legs feeling heavier with each step. The cheers and clinking glasses faded, the world around him collapsing into a blur as he approached. He could feel Kara's laughter wrapping around him like a soft embrace. Yet the closer he got, the more his heart pounded. "Hey Kara," he said, his voice steadier than he felt. She turned surprised, and for a moment, the air between them crackled with unuttered words. "Jake!" she exclaimed, a smile lighting her face. It sent a rush of warmth through him, infusing him with both reassurance and panic. "Wow, it's been ages. How are you?" "Good, yeah, well, I'm here. At the wedding." The words spilled out clumsily, but Kara's gaze held him steady, and he found his breath. Her laugh chimed again, but there was a flicker of something deeper in those hazel eyes. "I can't believe how long it's been. I missed so much. What's new?" Jake inhaled deeply, grounding himself in the moment. This was the chance he had been weighing. "Honestly, a lot. I've been trying to figure things out, you know? It's been a journey." Kara nodded, her expression encouraging him to continue. "Feels like everyone's on this journey back to one another tonight." "Huh?" "Yeah," Jake said with a slight grin. "Maybe we could catch up? Just the two of us later?" Her face lit up with a surprise that quickly shifted into a warm smile. "I'd like that." Jake's heart soared, but just as quickly as that joy bloomed, a shadow of doubt crept back in. What did this actually mean? His mind raced with possibilities, but also the weight of fear. What if she didn't feel the same? What if he had lost that connection for good? "I better get back," he said abruptly, unsure of what else to say. A half-hearted attempt at a smile followed as he backed away. "Catch you later?" "Definitely." Kara's response was bright, cutting through the thickening tension that accompanied his doubts. But as he retreated a few steps, he couldn't shake the nagging uncertainty gnawing at him. The music picked up once more, its infectious beat drawing people to the dance floor. Jake watched for a moment, but lingering near the crowd only heightened his unease. Could he really dive into this revived friendship? What if it turned into something more? The band shifted songs and a familiar tune enveloped the room. It was a classic they had both loved as teenagers, a song that spoke of second chances and love lost and found. He was standing on that precipice again, caught between the comfort of the familiar and the thrilling risk of reaching out. Just then Jason approached, excitement evident in his eyes. "You good? You don't look like you're dancing, my friend." "No, I'm just thinking," Jake admitted. But his thoughts drifted back to Kara and the promise of rekindled connection. "I know you're worried, but this is your moment," Jason said, slapping him on the back. "You've come this far, man. Go for it." Jake's heart raced again, ignited by Jason's words. Stepping away from his brother, he felt the weight of the unfinished conversation pulling him back to the point of possibility. Would he really walk away from this chance? As he glanced back at Kara, laughter still dancing in her eyes, he knew one thing for certain: he wouldn't let fear cloud this opportunity. He had fought too hard for this night, and maybe tonight was the night he aimed for something far greater than mere nostalgia. With new determination swelling within him, Jake took a step forward, ready to leap into the unknown, ready to uncover what lay ahead. But as he moved, another familiar face appeared in the crowd, one that sent fresh waves of nerves crashing over him, a person he hadn't anticipated seeing at all. What would this mean for his budding connection with Kara? Jake's heart seized in his chest as he caught sight of her, the unmistakable figure of Sarah. She stood just beyond the edge of the dance floor, chatting animatedly with a cluster of guests, her vibrant laughter ringing above the music. For a moment time froze. Memories flooded his mind: picnics in the park, late-night drives, and the bittersweet way she had looked at him the last time they had said goodbye. Her presence was like a summer storm. It was exhilarating and terrifying all at once. He hadn't seen her since she had moved away over 2 years ago. Her absence had left a gaping hole in his life that he had tried to fill with other distractions. Was he really prepared to face her now, just as he had mustered the courage to reconnect with Kara? Jake felt the warm rush of uncertainty envelop him, but there was also a flicker of excitement. Could fate be nudging him again to confront his past, to see if the bond they had could still spark something? "Hey, pray tell, who's that?" Jason nudged him, his eyes following Jake's gaze. "You look like you've seen a ghost." "Just an old friend," Jake mumbled, unwilling to share the complexity of his feelings or the regrets tied to Sarah. "Old friend? As in, just someone I used to know well," Jake replied cryptically, his throat tightening. His focus slipped back to Sarah, who had turned slightly in his direction, still blissfully unaware of his presence. It was then he noticed Kara glancing their way, confusion creasing her brow as she caught the tension that coiled around him. "Jake," Jason said, shaking him gently. "Focus. You need to choose what you want. You can't ignore either of them." But how could he? The feelings stirred with each step Sarah took toward him, a blend of nostalgia, longing, and the unfathomable what-ifs of their time together. His resolve wavered. As Sarah approached, her eyes lit with surprise. "Jake? Oh wow. It's been forever. How are you?" "Good. Really good," he stammered, his heart crashing against his ribs. "And you're here? At the wedding?" she asked, her bright smile pushing a wave of warmth through him. "What a coincidence." "Yeah," Jake said softly, trying to focus his thoughts. "Definitely feels like fate. I could also say the same about how I ran into you." Just then, another joyful laugh broke the air. Kara, her laughter like a siren's call. Jake's mind raced between her and Sarah, each smile like a gentle tug at his heart. Would he turn back to Kara while this connection burned before him? "So what's been going on in your life?" Sarah pried, leaning in as if eager to catch up on everything they had missed. The words spilled from him. "Just life, you know? Trying to navigate the ups and downs. Been a journey. Like coming back for a wedding? Maybe to rekindle old flames?" She teased lightly, her gaze playful yet piercing. "It's complicated," he murmured. Underneath this shared moment, emotions churned, twisted like vines. He was straddling the line between two worlds, one with memories he cherished and another blooming with new possibilities. As Sarah continued chatting, Jake couldn't shake the feeling of being pulled in two directions. He caught a glimpse of Kara, watching from a distance, uncertainty etched across her features. It was a suffocating whisper in his mind. Why had he sought one connection only to face another one? Was it true that sometimes the past and present collude to confuse even the clearest hearts? "Hey Jake," Jason interrupted, breaking through the whirlwind. "What's it gonna be? Go for the conversation with Kara or explore what's brewing with Sarah?" Jake's heart raced. He had fought hard to reclaim the courage to reach out to Kara. But now, faced with Sarah, everything felt so different. Could he truly embrace both possibilities unfolding before him? Uncertain, he looked between the two women, each representing a different part of his life. It was time for a decision. What if doing nothing meant potentially losing both? As he opened his mouth to speak, the music shifted again, wrapping the moment in an air thick with anticipation. However, before he could make his choice, someone bumped into him, and he turned, feeling the pull of destiny about to reveal its hand. What would he choose? And how would both women react? The sudden bump startled Jake, pulling him from his whirlwind thoughts. He glanced over his shoulder, and there stood Alex, his younger brother, a grin plastered on his face, completely oblivious to the emotional tension that enveloped Jake. "Hey big brother. Dance with me," Alex exclaimed, grabbing Jake by the arm and pulling him toward the dance floor. Jake started, but Alex was already spinning him around, laughter escaping his lips as they navigated the crowd. For a moment, the world blurred around him, and Jake found himself swept into the rhythm of the music. The beat thumped in his chest, a steady reminder of the life and love that surrounded them. Jake's eyes drifted back to Sarah and Kara. Both women seemed to hold their breath, caught in their own whirlwind of emotions. Sarah watched him with an expression that mixed surprise and desire, while Kara's face showed a blend of curiosity and concern. "Hey, you're supposed to be having fun tonight," Alex shouted over the music. "Right, fun? Just give me a second," Jake shouted back, feeling the weight of Alex's enthusiasm. But the sound of laughter lingered between them. It was infectious yet painful. He spun back to his brother, forcing a smile. "Sorry, I just got caught up in it's about time you loosened up. You've been so wrapped up in your head lately, man. Just don't think too much, okay? Loosen up, right?" Jake muttered. But all he could think about was how Alex couldn't possibly understand the storm brewing inside him. As they danced, Jake caught another glimpse of Kara. She smiled softly, as if inviting him back to her warmth. Would she be standing there, still waiting for him to return? And what about the spark with Sarah? It was undeniable, a magnetic pull that had always lingered just beneath the surface. Alex laughed again, breaking through Jake's spiraling thoughts. "Okay, but seriously, who are you trying to impress? You're like a deer in headlights. Just be yourself, man. Jake couldn't help but chuckle. Believe me, if I knew who I really was right now, that would help. Suddenly the music shifted. A slow song began to play, and the atmosphere changed, softening around them. Couples began to pair off, drifting toward the edges of the dance floor, entwined in the warm glow of love and happiness. This was a moment for connection, but Jake was caught in a riptide that pulled him in two directions. All right, dude. Time to find your strength, Alex encouraged, giving him a gentle shove toward the side of the dance floor where Kara stood. Jake hesitated, glancing back at Sarah, who was watching expectantly. He could feel the tug of their past, the longing to reclaim what they had shared. But Kara had been a lifeline through his stormy days lately, her unwavering presence offering comfort when he needed it most. Mustering his courage, Jake stepped toward Kara. She looked up, her brown eyes sparkling under the twinkling lights. As he approached, he could see a flicker of hope and anxiety dance in her gaze. "Hey," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Hey," she replied, a smile softening her features. They stood close, the world around them fading as if all that mattered was the uncharted territory they were both standing in. "Do you want to dance?" Jake asked, his heart racing. "Sure," Kara said, taking a step toward him. Jake took her hand, leading her to the edge of the dance floor. As they began to sway together, he felt a small bit of the tension in him release. But all the while, he could feel Sarah's gaze rooted in the back of his mind. He was standing at a crossroad and one choice could change everything. Would he find a way to bridge the gap between his past and present? As the song played on, his heart thumped louder, echoing the question in his mind. Would he dare to explore what true happiness looked like? Or would fear keep him shackled to uncertainty? In that silence, Jake realized that the hardest choice was yet to come. What if taking a chance meant risking everything he thought he knew? As they swayed gently to the music, Jake's heart raced, a chaotic blend of hope and fear coursing through him. Kara's presence felt warm and steady, like a life raft amidst crashing waves. He was aware of her every move, the way she leaned into him just so, her smile igniting something deep inside him that had laid dormant for too long. "You're a good dancer," Kara said softly, looking up at him. He chuckled, trying to keep the mood light. "I'm just following your lead." But the truth was, dancing with her was more challenging than he expected. It wasn't just the steps that intimidated him. It was the weight of the moment, the silent acknowledgement that they were crossing into something new, something real. As the song neared its end, Jake risked a quick glance back at Sarah. Their eyes met, and for a fleeting moment, everything became clear. The connection he felt with her had always been electric, but tonight, it had turned into a haze that clouded every rational thought. She was beautiful, vibrant, but there was also turmoil painted vividly across her features. "What's wrong?" Kara asked, concern lacing her voice. Jake quickly masked his expression. "Nothing. Just my mind wandering." "You know, it's okay to feel confused," Kara offered gently, always attuned to his moods. "Life can throw us in so many directions. You don't have to decide right this moment." He held her gaze, her understanding a soothing balm to his tormented heart. What did she truly know about his fears? His past? The weight of his decisions? The longer he stood there, the more he felt the split inside him widen, a chasm rife with what-ifs and maybes that taunted him. Kara smiled, and that smile shattered some of the doubt. It was genuine, sweet, and it made him want to lean into the moment. She was here right now, and he could let that connection unfold. Suddenly, the music came to a soft stop, and the boyish excitement of his brother Alex broke through the air. "All right, everyone. Time for speeches," he announced, turning the attention away from the dance floor. Jake felt a tug at his heart again, though this time from a different emotion, anxiousness. The last thing he wanted was to stand before family and friends, feeling like a puzzle piece that didn't quite belong. "Stay right here," he whispered to Kara. The request hung heavy with urgency. He stepped away amidst the growing chatter. He had to face his truth, even if it meant diving into an uncomfortable conversation. As he approached the gathering crowd, all eyes were set on Alex, who stood grinning warmly at the front. But Jake's attention was seized by Sarah, who was pulling together her thoughts, preparing for whatever was about to spill from her lips. Would she speak about the past, the love they shared? Would she wave him over, showing that spark he thought might still exist between them? His heart nearly stopped as Alex raised his glass for a toast, his voice echoing through the space. To love, to family, and to new beginnings. The words resonated like a bell, hitting Jake deep in his core. What did new beginnings really mean to him? Before he could think twice, he felt an overwhelming surge of courage rise within. This was his moment to leap or to fall. "Excuse me," Jake said, breaking through the gathering. "Can I say something?" Everyone turned toward him, surprise written across their faces. Their gazes locked, and for a heartbeat, the world around him fell away. Would he stand up and lay bare all the tumultuous feelings that swelled within? Would he risk shattering old ties, or would he use this chance to look forward into what could be? With the weight of dozens of eyes burning into him, Jake's breath hitched, and he felt the world hold in anticipation. What exactly would he reveal as he stood there at the precipice of his choice? Hey everyone," Jake began, his voice trembling slightly. He could feel the gaze of his family and friends pinning him to the spot. He swallowed hard, nervously fidgeting with the glass he didn't even realize he was holding. "First, I want to thank Alex and Mia," he said, glancing quickly at his brother and sister-in-law, who both beamed back at him, encouraging smiles on their faces. "You two are amazing, really. You've put together a beautiful celebration." His eyes drifted back to Sarah, who looked anxious and fascinated at the same time. He took a deep breath, summoning all the courage he had left. "And while I'm up here, I need to say something that's been weighing on me for a while." The room fell silent, a heavy stillness blanketing everything. Jake could hear the subtle ticking of the clock on the wall, every second stretching out an eternity. He could see Sarah's expression sharpen, her brow furrowing in concern. "What I need to say is easy," he hesitated, glancing down at the floor, gathering his thoughts. "I know we've all been through changes lately, and love isn't always as straightforward as we want it to be." Jake's heart pounded like a war drum, a mix of electricity and fright. He felt alive and terrified all at once. "I've felt something special," he began, his eyes drawn to Kara beside him, her presence grounding him. "Recently, I've been trying to understand my feelings for two incredible women, two of the most important people in my life." A stirring moved through the crowd, whispers circled like a breeze. Jake pressed on, feeling the moment push him beyond his fears. "Sarah and Kara, you both hold pieces of my heart. And I know that for whatever reason, it's taken this wedding for me to realize it." He glanced at Kara, her expression shifting from calm to bewildered, eyes widening as she absorbed his admission. Sarah's cheeks flushed as if he'd set fire to them. The implications of his words hung thick in the air, a tension that felt like it could snap at any moment. "I've shared a lot with Sarah. We've been through mountains and valleys together. But there's also a spark with Kara that frightens and excites me at the same time. I feel like I'm standing at a crossroads, and I can't ignore this confusion anymore." Gathering himself, Jake stepped forward slightly. "What I'm trying to say is I want to change the way I've been living. I want to embrace the messiness of love, and not let past decisions box me in." He could see Alex cringing from the corner of his eye, likely sensing the storm brewing. "I hope you all will support me as I attempt to navigate this uncertainty." The silence after his confession was deafening. A million questions hung in the room, but all he could hear was his own heartbeat, racing in his chest. It felt like he'd dropped a boulder into a placid lake, ripples spreading in every direction. And then Sarah took a shaky breath. "Jake," she began, but her voice was thick, filled with emotion. "Is this really how you want to do this?" Kara's face mirrored uncertainty too. It was clear this wasn't merely a shared moment, but a pivotal junction that could forever change their lives. Jake's stomach twisted, caught in a whirlwind, anticipating her answer as if it could seal his fate. He started, but was cut off by the sudden ringing of his phone in his pocket, a harsh reminder of the outside world pressing in. All eyes shifted to him as he fished it out, his heart sinking at the sight of an unknown number calling. "Sorry," he murmured, lifting it slightly. The moment felt fragile, a delicate balance hanging in the air. As he swiped to answer, dread filled him. Who could it be? Why now? He pressed it to his ear, steeling himself for whatever news awaited. And as he heard the voice on the other end, he realized this call could throw everything into chaos. What was waiting on the other side of the line? "Jake?" The voice was familiar yet unsettling, echoing with a weight that pressed down on him. "Yeah, who is this?" His throat felt tight, his heart drumming louder with every breath he took. The laughter and cheers from his family faded into the background, replaced by a sharp focus on what was being said on the other end of the line. "It's Mia, I know this isn't the best time, but I needed to reach you. It's about Mom." Jake's stomach dropped. "Mom? What could be wrong?" He glanced at Alex, whose face mirrored his concern. Suddenly the room felt too small, the air too thick. He moved away from the crowd for a moment, feeling disoriented, a cocktail of emotions swirling inside him. What happened? The urgency in his voice surprised him. "She fainted at the reception, they're checking her out now. But I wanted you to know," Mia said, her voice trembling slightly. "It might be nothing, but they're being careful." Jake's heart raced. The warm glow of the celebration felt achingly far away now, replaced by a cold dread. Is she okay?" "I don't know yet. I just thought you should hear it from me." He heard a muffled noise from the background, Alex's voice calling for him. "I have to go." "I'm on my way," Jake said, cutting off her response. Without a second thought, he turned back to the reception area, feeling from the depths of his gut how the lightness of earlier moments had been snatched away. The laughter and singing now felt hollow. His eyes found Sarah and Kara. They both wore expressions of concern, but he couldn't focus on them just yet. "I have to go to the hospital," he announced, the gravity of his words commanding the attention of everyone near him. "What? Jake, wait." Sarah stepped forward, her voice sharp with panic. "What happened?" "It's Mom. She fainted. I need to check on her," he explained, swallowing hard against the lump in his throat. He softened, quickly adding, "I'm sorry to leave." "I just go," Alex said, his voice firm yet understanding. "We'll hold down the fort here. I'll take care of things." Jake nodded, overwhelmed by gratitude and guilt all at once. "Thanks, man." He walked away, feeling the intensity of the room slip through his fingers as he made his way to the exit. His thoughts raced. His mom, he couldn't bear the thought of something happening to her. Once outside, he took a deep breath, filling his lungs with the cool air. It helped clear his mind, if only for a moment. It forced the feelings of love and confusion he'd just poured out to the far side. Replaced now by the urgent worry for his family, he jumped into his car and turned the key, the engine rumbling to life as he drove off. Memories of family dinners, stories exchanged over pie and ice cream flickered before his eyes. The way his mother laughed, her warmth filling every space, he couldn't imagine losing that. And then came a weight in his chest, a realization that spun through the chaotic emotions swirling inside him. What if this was it? This reminder that life is fragile, unpredictable? Jake gripped the steering wheel tighter, determined to make every moment count, especially with the women he was still trying to navigate through his feelings. The car sped down the street toward the hospital, urgency surging through him. But even as he rushed, the thought lingered, had he made the right choice in voicing his feelings earlier? As he pulled into the hospital parking lot, dread and determination battled within him. Would he have the chance to change things? Would he be brave enough to embrace love's complexities when he got the chance again? And as he walked through the sliding glass doors, he couldn't shake the feeling that his life was about to shift again. Yet again. The twists of family loyalty, love's turmoil, and the looming uncertainty all still waited for him inside. How could he face it all? Would he find clarity amidst chaos? Or would this turn into another crossroad he couldn't predict? Jake stepped into the hospital lobby, the fluorescent lights harsh and unyielding against the faded memories of joy from the wedding reception. Anxiety tugged at his chest while the sterile scent of antiseptic filled the air. It should be felt familiar. The place where family gathered during moments of fear. Yet it felt foreign, each whisper and hurried footstep amplifying the gravity of his concern for his mother. Rushing toward the nurse's station, his pulse quickened. "Excuse me, I'm looking for my mom. She was brought in after fainting, Mary Johnson?" The nurse glanced at him, her face soothing but serious. "She's in room 207. They're running some tests," she replied, her voice calm as she pointed down the corridor. "Is she okay?" He pressed, taking a step closer, desperation creeping into his tone. "It's hard to say without all the results. Just head on back. Family is being allowed to see her." A wave of anxious relief washed over him as he followed her directions. Each step felt like a march into the unknown, the bright waiting room lights giving way to pale, anxious faces. Though he wanted to put on a brave face, The knot in his stomach tightened. Reaching 207, he found his sister Mia sitting on a chair, her fingers intertwined nervously. "Mia!" he exclaimed, rushing to her side. "Hey, I'm glad you made it," she said, her voice low. "How is she?" he asked, nervously glancing toward the closed door. "They haven't said anything yet. They ran tests but it feels different from the usual visits," she admitted, her eyes reflecting the same fear gnawing at his insides. Jake nodded, swallowing hard. A silence hung between them, thick with unspoken worries. He didn't want to face the truth that life could shift in an instant, altering every connection, every chance. Images of the wedding flashed in his mind, laughter and joy now bittersweet. Would he ever get the chance to fully embrace his feelings, or would life keep throwing new challenges in his path? "Jake," Mia said, nudging him from his spiraling thoughts, "I need to ask what happened at the reception? You seemed a bit intense." He hesitated, feeling the weight of his earlier confession. "I opened up about Sarah and Kara. It was a lot." "Wait, you told them?" She voiced the question softly, uncertainty woven into her tone. "Yeah, it felt like the moment to share," he sighed, "but did I make the right choice? I don't know how they'll take it, or what will happen next." Mia's brow furrowed, a mix of concern and reassurance. "You're brave for putting your feelings out there, Jake. Not everyone can do that." Just then the door swung open. A doctor stepped out, his face slightly softened by concern. "Family of Mary Johnson?" he called, drawing all attention to him. Jake and Mia rushed forward, fear and hope colliding. "She's stable for now, but we'll need to monitor her closely. There's nothing critical," he reassured them, "she just needs some time." Relief flooded him, though Jake couldn't shake the gravity of the moment. He thought of rebuilding not just within himself but also within his family. As they entered the room, a wave of warmth enveloped him. His mother lay nestled in bed, attached. Her eyes fluttered open, confusion shifting to love and relief upon seeing them. "Mama," he said softly, rushing to her side. "You scared me." "Jake," she replied, her voice hoarse but full of the warmth that always soothed him. "I'm okay, honey." His heart swelled. In that moment, everything he feared faded away. "You're here and that's what matters." Mia wrapped her arms around their mom in a gentle embrace. "You scared us, Mom," she whispered, tears brimming in her eyes. As they surrounded her, the strength of their bond sunk deep. This was family, his foundation, the connection he'd always fought to protect. He remembered how easily the night had shifted, and how lonesome he had felt standing outside the hall. His phone buzzed in his pocket, but this time he didn't flinch. He could feel the love filling the room, ready to embrace whatever came next, whether it was the journey of rekindling connections with Sarah and Kara or learning to love himself through uncertainty. "Jake, can you do me a favor?" his mother asked weakly, drawing his attention. "Anything, Mom," he responded instantly. "Promise me you won't hold back on your happiness. Life is far too short to linger in shadows," she said, her eyes intense with a deeper wisdom. Jake nodded, his heart hammering. This was the crux of it all, the fight to be honest about feelings and connections, to live boldly instead of waiting in the sidelines. "Mom, I promise," he said firmly, the warmth of her hand squeezing his. A bright smile broke on her face as understanding glinted in her eyes. Just then his phone buzzed again. But even as he checked it, seeing Jason's name, he found it no longer mattered. He had more important things to focus on. He would face the chaos of love and uncertainty head on as they all settled into conversation. The warmth of family swirled around them, unfurling the night's tension. Each word exchanged was a thread weaving through their collective journey, a promise that they would navigate the storms together, and no matter how uncertain love could be, Jake resolved to embrace every moment with courage and heart, the way he had fought fire for Mr. Thompson, the way his family had always stood united. Life was waiting, and finally he was ready to embrace it all. So, here we are, but listen carefully. You need to subscribe now to this channel to not miss our next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support our journey. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to feel the power of transformation. We're in this together, so let's keep this family growing strong. Comment your thoughts about this journey and let us inspire each other.